Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Chicken Box. I'm your host, Jackson Rao. Okay, guys, we have a very interesting episode today. We have two companies that are preparing for the Black Business Expo that we have this year. One is Siwani Spirits, and the other is Rose Garden Wines. So, tell you a little bit about Siwani Spirits, run by Camylle Coley, who is an architect and founder of Siwani Spirits and a premium spirit, which is a premium spirits house built on the Carolina Gold rice and rooted in Gullah Geechee heritage. A scientist and proud Geechee descendant, she crafts award-winning luxury expressions that honor the golden seed and the people who cultivated it. Siwani's flagship, Silva, and its second expression, Clue, have collectively earned 7 industry awards, including the gold medal for Silva, which is a new line of liquors built on the gold medal winning Silva. Siwani is redefining how ancestral grains show up in contemporary cocktails, culture, pouring history, innovation, and black excellence in every glass. And then there's Rose Garden Wines. This brand is fueled by its friendship, laughter, and love of two women who crossed paths in 2013 while working in the entertainment industry. 7 years later, the two joined forces during the COVID-19 pandemic, and Rose Garden Wines was born. When the inspiration struck during the FaceTime call, they chose to pursue their passion. Every experience that they have encountered independently, both personally and professionally, have prepared them for this business venture collectively. Rose Garden Wines offers a unique experience where we approach the wine industry with custom flavor profiles and product combinations, including our signature herbal-inspired wine collection. With grapes sourced from vineyards located in Spain, this brand will be the first of its kind in Prince George's County, Maryland, and in Washington, D.C. metropolitan area that is 100% Black-owned and 100% woman-owned. So welcome to all of those folks to the show. Camylle, Joy, and Brittany. How are you guys? How are you guys this morning?
Doing well.
Good.
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Of course. So it's a lot, so I'm going to just kind of round robin to everybody. Camylle, I will go first to you. So for folks who are not familiar with the Gullah Geechee culture or the heritage of that, can you explain what that is for people who don't understand and sort of how that fits into your business specifically?
Sure. So the Gullah Geechee people primarily come from what's called the Gullah Geechee corridor. The Gullah Geechee corridor starts in Wilmington, North Carolina, and goes all the way to St. Augustine, Florida. These folks predominantly came from what's called the rice coast of Africa. And that is the west coast, primarily from Nigeria, all the way down to Angola. To a certain extent, there's some Central African influence as well. So these folks came from the rice coast of Africa and were responsible for the rice crop and those contributions to American colonial wealth. So without Gullah Geechee people, there would be no Carolina Gold rice. There would have been a much more stunted colonial economy, and that was built on the Jackson mine of Gullah Geechee people.
And you're of Geechee descent, is that correct?
Yes, so I'm Geechee on my father's side. His father came from Ridgeland, South Carolina, and those families migrated down to St. Augustine. Most of those communities were migrant communities that traveled up and down the coast and crops changed throughout the year. So my family picked potatoes. They were also largely involved with the seafood trade and the waterways, so a lot of shrimp fishing, and then, of course, rice culture, which is a significant part of Gullah Geechee culture. So one of the things that you'll learn is not only that they were responsible for cultivating this rice, but rice was a significant part of their own internal cultural, uh, uh, their own internal culture. So you'll find still today that there's rice at almost every meal. You'll probably heard of things like red rice. Red rice is a descendant of jollof. And you see these kinds of things all over the coastal South. And the Gullah Geechee people are just one reflection of it.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And look, for folks who don't, here's I would say a fast way to become sort of acclimated with Gullah Geechee cultures. You should watch the movie Daughters of the Dust, which is a great movie from the early 90s, which is all about that. So I'm going to go to Brittany and Joy here for a second with Rose Garden Wines. You guys met in 2013, but didn't decide to start this venture until during the pandemic, which sounds a little crazy, like during the most like hectic time where everybody is separated. Why was that the time that you felt, hey, all right, let's do this thing?
So I would say that we waited, the times just seemed right during COVID. Prior to that, we were heading in different career paths, actually. Working in the entertainment industry, we were working a lot. Then we both departed the entertainment industry and went through different professional career paths. Joy was working in the wine and spirits industry. I was working in communications for a federal agency here in the Washington, D.C. area. And during COVID, we kind of made a funny joke while we were on FaceTime in the midst of COVID, where I was sipping a mug of tea and Joy was sipping a glass of wine, and an idea went off saying we should just make a tea-infused wine, and a light bulb went off in our heads. Like, wait, that actually sounds really cool, and we kind of moved forward with it. And the next week, we started building this business.
Look, those sort of flashes of inspiration are very real. So no, I love stories like that. I think that's dope. Now, Joy, going to you, you already worked in the spirits industry. What were you doing there? Were you working for sort of other companies, or had you had like an independent thing already and you were just like, all right, I want to do this with Brittany, or how did that work?
Oh yeah, good question. I was actually doing a lot of wine festivals. So I worked at a company that did large scale wine festivals in the district and surrounding areas. So I was around a lot of distributors, a lot of producers, always around and being able to try a lot of varieties of wine. It really exposed me to a lot of good opportunities in that way. And also it was working in a company that was starting to become bigger. So I kind of got firsthand knowledge on running a business and kind of starting from the ground up. So it was just really, really great placement. And then right before COVID, I went into an event production company. So really focusing on just large scale events, but catering and spirits and wine, that all kind of plays into that industry as well. So I had a lot of background on it from both sides.
Very nice. And so once this, I guess now infamous FaceTime call happened, you're taking your current knowledge of sort of the distribution and all the back end stuff. Has that been really instrumental in really giving you guys kind of a boost? Because I know the alcohol and spirits world is really hard to break into.
I will say, I think it gave me a little bit of knowledge, a little bit, but like, I don't think we were at that time. I didn't know all of the ins and outs of everything, right? Like I've never been on this side of the industry. I've been on the get the taste and get to try a bunch of new varietals and really understand and develop my own palates and my own taste. But the permitting and the legislation and just the industry itself, there was no pre-knowledge of some of those big pieces. So some of the keys to our success has really been able to make collaborations and partnerships with other owners, other businesses specifically within the wine industry, to help us grow and help us gain some of this knowledge. Because I will say, yes, it can be difficult sometimes to break into this industry if you don't have the right connection. So I think a lot of it is making sure that you're able to collaborate with the right people, but then not also be scared to admit when you don't know something, because it will take you longer to kind of go back and start from scratch,
Yeah, it's interesting talking to folks in your industry before last year. That's a very familiar sort of story, which is you have to partner with people who are already there, and if you can do that, that really helps you kind of get a foothold in. So, collaboration is is key here. It sounds like. All right, Camille, I want to jump back to you. You describe yourself as a scientist and a founder. Give people a little bit of background. What does that mean? What kind of science were you doing? Is that affecting Siwani Spirits directly, or like how does that play into your business directly?
Yeah, so my formal training is in neuroscience. I have a degree in neuroscience from the University of Wisconsin. Most of my work has been biological science based. And actually, you'll find in the spirits industry, there are a lot of people who are scientists who decided to leave the lab and decided to start making spirits. So you'll find innumerable microbiologists, for example, who are now distilling or brewing, and they're using that expertise, that background, to make decisions about what kind of yeast to use, what kind of grains to use, how to age products, and all of that. So there's actually a lot more science in the spirits industry than most people might expect. You'll even have people, there's some brands that are running formulas through AI programs trying to determine what the best flavor profile could be. So yeah, there's quite a lot of science in the industry. From my perspective, I don't think I'm using a lot of neuroscience directly in this, but I think one of the things that has been really helpful is the critical thinking that comes with having a scientific education, being able to connect a lot of different dots, and being able to see paths that most others may not have readily pursued. So I see myself as someone who's looking to bring to the industry, I think just like some of what Joy and Brittany said, something unique, not wanting to recreate the wheel, wanting to use my research skills to both learn more history about my family, being able to share that, not just with customers, but with my niece and my nephews, and making sure that they know where they come from. That's a lot of where this started from. And then being able to educate people. So that's a big part of what our brand is about. It's about educating people on Gullah Geechee culture. Most people don't know. To your earlier point, Jay, most people may not have heard of Gullah Geechee people. There are a lot of Gullah Geechee descendants who don't know that they're descendants, and I think that this part of American history is very important to bring to the forefront. And I've been blessed to be able to use my research skills, and I also have an MBA in business. I have an MBA in global business, and so being able to bring that to our brand has been very helpful.
So, okay, looking at your, thank you for answering that, by the way. Looking at your website, siwanispirits.com, by the way. We talked about in the bio, Silva and Clue.
Yes.
Can you explain what their particular what they particularly are? I mean, are these more like, is Silva more like a gin or something like, I mean, or is it something completely unique? Is really my question.
Silva is completely unique. And that's been both a blessing and a challenge
Sure.
for us, because people especially when we first got started, there was a lot of, well, what is this? And often I would say the best thing for you to do is to taste it. I can tell you over and over again. I'm sorry, my setup's falling apart. But I can tell you over and over again about like different flavor profiles and all of that. But until you taste it, it's difficult to really understand it. There are some folks in the industry that compare it to rum agricole, in eau de vie. And I think eau de vie is a really good comparison because an eau de vie is really just an expression of the substrate, right? So this is all about what the rice is, what its flavor is. We don't add anything else to it. So we use a traditional, actually whiskey style mash. And we use only the rice. We break it down. We use some enzymes to release those simple sugars so that we can firm it. And then it's run through a traditional pot still. So some folks kind of really enjoy that sweetness that you get from it, similar to like an aged whiskey kind of flavor. So it makes great cocktails, and this was our flagship product, and everything basically is off of Silva.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think a lot of people just assume any sort of spirits are, it's like whiskey, scotch, gin, and that's it. And then and then there are beers and wine, right? But obviously there are so many other things available, and the fact that this is sort of rooted, not even sort of, but this is directly rooted in the rice from the Gullah Geechee culture is in and of itself unique and historically political and things like that. I think it's actually really quite important. But the idea that people were like, "What is this?" is like the most telling, right? Because they simply don't know. So I appreciate you bringing this to the forefront. I'm going to jump back to the ladies at Rose Garden Wines here for a second. You guys are doing herbal inspired wine, and you're also bringing in grapes from Spain. What particular types of grapes from Spain are you bringing in? And do you find that was it important did you look at local grapes first, or what was it about Spanish grapes that you felt like, okay, this is where we're bringing this, even though you're making a very local brand? Like, how do you kind of square that circle?
Yeah, that's a good question. So our grapes are actually Grenache and Tempranillo. So we found that those were the best for the blend that we wanted to make, and especially anything for infusing things into your wine. Red blends are always the way to go, especially with Grenache being and having a little bit of a sweeter taste to it. We'll be able to just make the wine more robust the way that we had imagined it to be. We had chosen those grapes specifically because we actually work with our team. Everything is actually bottled in France. So our team of experts really helped us find the best regions for the taste profiles that we wanted to create. And that just happened to be from the lands of Spain. So we were able to, again, have all of them sourced, bottle them, and import them over. It's really important for us to be based here though in PG County because we both have ties to this area. We're both from this area. We both went to school here. We both lived here. We're residents of PG County. So we really want to make sure that we're part of the community and really giving back to the community in the best way that we know how and really uplifting those around us. So we know how we have a unique process of how we're bringing in our grapes. And it's not that we necessarily didn't look at Maryland grapes first, because there are some incredible people here, incredible vineyards here, incredible grapes here. It was just at the time when we first did our research and looking into the team that we were building, we went to a lot of our connections and our close connections from our team in France.
Okay, no, I think that's fair, and I like Grenache and Tempranillo as well, so I'm a fan. Okay, so I will let me spin it to Brittany for a second here. you guys are 100% Black owned. I can see the two of you. I verified it. And you're also 100% woman owned. Is that seen, do you guys see that as kind of fuel for your business? Like, hey, we're doing something unique in PG County. Or do you find that there's a bit of pressure in the industry of like, since you guys are the first 100%, female and 100% Black owned in Prince George's County, is there a pressure like, got to succeed because you got to represent type of thing? Or does it feel like, all right, this is fuel for like, us doing kind of great things? A little bit of both.
Honestly, it's a little bit both. As Black women operating in the wine industry, we are a very, very small percent. So it's very important for us to be here operating in this space, especially due to the fact that we don't own vines. We weren't born into a family of grapes. So it's important for us to occupy this space. Just like all other Black and brown women, it's important for them to take up space. But we really wanted to be the bosses that we never received. So starting a business, being able to pour back into our community. We have 3 sets here to our business that we've kind of constructed when starting, that it kind of pulls in community, pulls in partnership with other businesses, and our nonprofit component where we give things back to the community. So it's important to us to be here, even though at times it does seem like a lot of pressure because we're learning as we go. So, but our hopes is that we get to the point where we're able to share the blueprint with others and bring up the next generation of winemakers.
Excellent. I'm very interested in this idea of, sort of any sort of minority, ventures into these historically very white industries, if we're being honest. And in this case, historically white and very male industries, right? It's interesting when you're kind of pushing into those, the kind of pushback you potentially get because like, what are you doing here sort of thing? But also at the same time, some people are like, hey, something unique, come on in, right? Like, so do you guys have experience with like, were you surprised at some of the sort of positive experiences where you thought like maybe you thought you get a little bit more pushback and you didn't, or something you thought might be a little easier to kind of go into and then you did receive any pushback from and that's a question to anybody on the panel, by the way.
We received great feedback, and it's almost surprising, like, oh wow, us two Black women, we own a wine brand. It's kind of amazing to even say that out loud. But it's also validating that we are doing things the way that we need to do them to be successful. And it kind of put a stamp on our inaugural product that we have on the market. But when it comes to, I guess, dealing with the public, sometimes wine can be a little bit mundane, right? It can be making wine accessible is one of the goals that we wanted to achieve with Rose Garden Wines, and occupying this space, but also seeing it on the other end of the spectrum, how we were able to access funding, how we were able to secure certain aspects of our business, being outsiders in the wine industry world. Like, we were able to sell not only the brand, but the vision behind the brand before we even had product.
Yeah.
And people truly did believe in us. And I think that's where you're kind of on to something, and you kind of have to move with that momentum.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, Camylle, I have a similar experience.
Go ahead.
But I'm sorry, Jay. But to your point, Brittany, about having vision first before you start talking to people. And maybe that, I didn't realize it at the time, but maybe that was some of the difference and some of why things that I thought may have been more difficult were not as difficult because the vision was very clear. So people could see very clearly how they could help, how they could contribute time, money, collaboration, all of that made things less difficult, I think, than I expected to walk into the industry. And I would say just whoever might be listening and considering entering spirits, for example, There's a great organization called the American Craft Spirits Association, and they will provide mentors for you. There are training programs, and being connected to that is another thing that was very helpful for me personally.
Yeah, can I actually add on to that? I think that's the key, right? And I don't want anybody watching to not breeze past the fact that we are in a very white space. And I don't want people to feel like uncomfortable entering these spaces, because it can be, right? Like, I believe, Brittany, the first time that we ever went to one of those really big wine expos just to kind of get our eyes on the different distributors, right? It was a room of 90% white men, and it was very intimidating. We were just like, hello, we're here. We have a product as well. But I don't want you people who are interested in going into businesses that are in white spaces to be afraid to not do it. Just like Camylle, you mentioning the craft association. We also have in Maryland, we have Maryland Wine Associations, and we have been able to find some incredible connections. Shout out to Claude, incredible connections that have been our guide and has made entering these spaces like less scary, to know that we are supposed to be there. It is we're worthy to be in these spaces, and our ideas are just as great as others. And I know a lot of times you'll find people, the more you enter into spaces, the smaller the community actually is, because you'll find these folks already know each other. They've been working with each other for years, and you're just like, hello, I want to come in, join the party too. But don't be afraid to do that. It just takes conversation, just takes time, and it just takes a willingness to get to know people and really like putting your product and what you're doing, your story up front, so people can be more familiar with it.
At a certain point, you also have to consider that we are not just selling a product. We're selling heritage, we're selling culture, we're selling a story. And that makes a really big difference when you're connecting with people and really showcasing what that vision looks like.
No, that's an excellent point. Camylle, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add that one of the things that I recently said on a different podcast is that I see myself sort of as a culture brand that happens to sell spirits. So that just kind of what Brittany just said reminded me of that.
No, that's a super fair point, and actually it kind of gives me it kind of leads into my my next question, which is, and this is to all three of you, what do you want like bartenders and sort of cocktail culture to understand about your ancestral, or in the Rose Garden Wines case, your unique story, right? Because to me, so much of cocktail culture, or that sort of world, it's like, this is a gin we have, this is a whiskey we have, this is a beer we have, right? And there's not a lot of story behind a lot of it, but both of your companies do have a very specific story, and there is. Not only do you have the Gullah Geechee story, you also have these Black women making these herbal infused wines and things like that. So, like, there is a story there. How do you get that across? Like, besides like just to a distributor saying, "Hey, can you just get this wine out there?" How do you push that culture so that when they go out to bars or what have you? I'm sorry, I'm pretty novice on the background of the industry. I apologize if I sound pretty ignorant here. But like, how do you get your cultural story across that when that glass slides across the bar, your story comes with it?
For Rose Garden Wines, oh, go ahead, Joy.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, for Rose Garden Wines, it's very important for us to have the representation that looks like us. So being very hands-on on who's advocating for our product. When we first started, we've been on the shelves for about a year. It's Joy and I, boots to the ground, going out to these stores representing the brand, because nobody's going to tell our story like we're able to tell our story. So at this season in our lives, it is just us. We just brought on a team of brand ambassadors that also are Black women. And I think that's very important to telling our story. Those people in the industry who are making the decisions on whether or not we should be in their store, them having the mindset of, oh, we met them. They're actually really great people. They're actually out here really working and trying to sell the product on their own. It's the fact that people are connecting the dots on our behalf. So many times over the past couple of weeks, it has been people talking about us in rooms we haven't even entered yet, and that kind of sets up the next move for us. So really making a good impression when we're out here talking to people, and operating from that professional business atmosphere is very important, but also advocating for your own brand as a Black woman. And specifically within Rose Garden, Joy and I work really, really hard on moving the needle forward and making sure that the representation at this moment is us in order to tell our story.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
that's fair and a pretty smart idea. Camylle, what is your experience with that?
Well, similar, but I would add that choosing your partners wisely is also very important. Not all money is good money, and this is not a one size fits all product, and it's not intended to be. And so, working with people who understand that, who also value storytelling and understanding a product rather than just getting drunk off of it, makes a huge difference.
No, that's a very, very fair point. Yeah, I think, for me personally, like I like booze. I'm fine with it, right? But it's always nice to have that little bit of a story behind it and understanding a little bit more about it and where it comes from. Like there is a particular spirit I had about a year ago, and I had never seen it before. It's like it was a Mexican spirit, and it has like a branch inside of it. And I was just like, okay, like I kind of want to know more about this. It's like very unique tasting thing. And it turns out it was like a medicinal thing from the particular region and everything else. But I just think once you have it and you kind of know that story, it's like, it tastes a little bit different than than I was thinking before when I didn't know anything. And now you're like, all right, like that's kind of dope. Like, so I think that does such a service to your companies to have that story, and to have representation who look like you, or going into the stores yourself. I think it's super important. That's a lot of work, obviously, because I'm sure you were driving around a lot of Maryland. Like, I'm sure you're very familiar with it at this point, but it is very cool to be able to have sort of boots on the ground so that people can see your face and go, I know Brittany, I know Joy, I know Camylle, I vouch for them, type of thing. And then, versus like whatever this generic brand is by, some celebrity who's never tasted it. Right. But I do think that matters quite a bit. Look, and I'll ask us sort of a final question here. Where do you see, this is such a generic question, but where do you kind of see your brands going in the far future, or even in the short term, like let's say 5 years or 15 years? Like where do you want to go, right? Obviously you're probably content with what you're doing, and you're happy with where things are, but I'm sure, like with every kind of business owner, it's like, I could be satisfied with a little bit more, right? Like a little bit bigger customer base, or people who know my story a little bit more. So like where do you guys see Siwani Spirits and Rose Garden Wines in a number of years?
So we're actively working toward having a brick and mortar distillery. So I currently am contracting my manufacturing. We took a recipe to a distillery, and they essentially make our products for us. I want all of that in-house. I want our entire vertical to be as Black as possible, to be perfectly frank.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so that's where I see us headed. And then, of course, expanding our product line. We have Silva, we have Clue, which is our flagship, actually aged whiskey. This is named after my grandfather, who was a World War II veteran. We specifically use cognac barrels as a tribute to those servicemen and women who were turned away from watering holes here in America, but offered cognac in France. And so we also have a reserve, and we're working on some liqueurs that we'll be releasing.
Excellent, excellent. And Brittany and Joy, where do you guys see your Rose Garden wines going in a couple of years?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, congrats, Camylle. I know getting a brick and mortar is hard work, so good job on that. But for Rose Garden, again, we are now just coming up on our very first year of being on the market. So we are excited to just kind of see how we can continue to build the brand, how we can continue to build recognition. We will be coming out with a white version to our Rose Garden Red. Our honey white will be coming out hopefully this fall. So we'll plan to continue building more varietals within the Rose Garden Wines brand. And then right now we are really focused on this area, the DMV. So Maryland being primary state to really push the product and going into DC and then Virginia. But hopefully we will be able to expand that to other states as well. Right now we're able to ship to other locations, but we're really focused on getting products in retailers in outside states, looking to go up to like Delaware, Pennsylvania, and then down south as well as the next step. So we're really looking forward to adding some more Rose Garden wines that everybody will be able to love and enjoy, and then expand our reach in the next couple of years. Now, 15 years from now, we have no idea. We are working on 5 years right now.
Okay. Hey, look, I just thought I'd ask. Brittany, is that sort of your shared idea? Do you perhaps, maybe Joy doesn't have one, do you have a 15-year plan of like where you'd like to see things?
I could say a lot of things. I'm a big dreamer.
Hey, that's all right. That's what we love.
I'm for a lot of brand endorsement deals. Every leverage up. I want Joy and I to be able to wake up, check the numbers, and let the wine brand work for itself. Like it should run like clockwork by then. We're doing a lot of the leg push right now, but I hope it provides us with income and relaxation in the future.
Okay, look, as a growing business, that is literally the best thing you can ask. I understand. Okay, so this is a segment of the show where we kind of what you want to leave the audience with as we're exiting here. So this is the Get on the Box segment. I will go first, and then I'm going to put it to the three of you before we get out of here. So look, I'll just say this. I think that, these kind of industries are, like I said earlier, historically very white, historically very male, and to see three Black women, pardon my French, kicking ass and doing your own thing, I think it's dope. I am a fan of wine. I am a fan of spirits, very much so. But it is cool to see people who look like us doing this. And I think when people talk about supporting Black businesses and supporting, women-owned businesses, here is a perfect time to get your wine for the summer. When you're hanging out, get your spirits for the summer, something unique that you haven't had before. I think that's dope. And you get a story and you get a little bit of culture there for something that is not common, right? Again, you can go to any wine or liquor store and get a bunch of generic things that has nothing behind it, but you could instead get something that has a story and real people behind it. And you are meeting these three people, and I think that's dope. And I wish you three all the luck in the world. I really do. So, yeah, you're welcome. So I will go to Camylle first. You're on the box.
Okay, so this summer we're running a campaign called the Summer of Red Drink. And this is basically about declaring a season of Juneteenth, not just a day, but we get to celebrate our people, remember our people, and organize together throughout this entire season. So we created our own sorrel cocktail that is Siwani red drink. And actually one of the restaurants here in Baltimore called Mira Kitchen is crafting a house red drink around this campaign and around Silva and Sorrel. So I just wanted to put that out there. Head to Mira, read our declaration, our Summer Red Drink declaration on our website, and follow for more goodness.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Joy, I'm going to go to you, and then we'll finish out with Brittany.
Yeah, I would say, now don't let me get on a soapbox here, but I would say try new things, try new wines. Like when we had built our brand, we really wanted to make sure that we could put all the love and laughter and friendship into a bottle. We wanted it to be created and drank when you're sitting with your friends, when you're spilling some tea, when you're having your moments. And we know that a lot of folks are getting introduced or are kind of scared to try different varietals. So be open to trying new things, try new varietals, get introduced to new brands. Don't always just cling on to the things that you know, because you'll never know what you'll be surprised by being able to try. One great thing about our Rose Garden Red is that it is also very versatile. We built it so that it can be enjoyed in the summertime in its chilled version, but also in the winter time under if you do like a mulled wine or just different cocktails. So don't not try different things. Always be open to just being creative, because that's how we built the brand. We wanted to do something different. We wanted to do something that we loved and include all the flavors into some of our favorite wines. So we hope everyone is able to enjoy it. Please visit our website at rosegardenwines.com to learn a little bit more about us and about our story, and then also to find where we are. But we're just excited to be able to introduce the world to our creative concoctions. So we hope everyone enjoys.
Excellent. And Brittany, you're gonna we'll end on you.
I'll just chime into what Joy said. Shop Black, support your community. It's important to every sale counts, every like on social media counts, every comment counts. It doesn't necessarily have to be a purchase. You can do things for free. Tell a friend. There's ways that we can pour into other people. Nobody's going to suffer if you decide you want to give somebody a shout out. That's free. That only takes a little bit of time. So just thank you for everyone who has already supported the Rose Garden Wine journey, and to those who have not but will. We thank you in advance. Follow us on social media. We do a lot of cool events in the community. We have a wellness initiative happening right now, our wine and wellness series, where we have a yoga class taught by me. I'm also a certified yoga instructor. And then we also get to taste wine, plus a little bit of activation with partnering with other Black-owned businesses in the area. So check out our website, check out our events. Shop us nationwide at rosegardenwines.com, or step into your local retailer and either ask for Rose Garden Wines or pick it up in the store if it's already there.
All right, there you go. So thank you, all three of you, for coming on the show. That was excellent. It was great talking to all of you. Look, this is again. Make sure you check out Rose Garden Wines and Siwani Spirits, and we will see you guys next time on another episode of the Chicken Box.